Oh, you can count the entire list. But it would overwrite the list.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look. This first one was straightforward. Nothing freaky. I know the second one was freaky. But again, not graded. Not graded. Some of you guys got it. If you didn't get it, you shouldn't feel bad. Alright? I love you guys. So this first one is straightforward. What are my stems going to be? My stems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there were no 30s, you would not have 1, 2, 4. You still have a 3 there. It's just going to be empty. Just like an empty class. You wouldn't just not write it. You just would have nothing in it.
Does that mean for 30 you have to write 0?
If there's a 30, then you put a 0, sure. I mean if there's nothing in the 30s. You would still have a 3 here, you just wouldn't write anything next to it. It would just be empty. Everybody with that? Otherwise, you're misleading the person you're showing the information to. So what's after 1? 6. Anything else? And then 2. So you could put it in order as you do this. So 2, 3, 5. Is that cool? And then 3 would be
1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8.
1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8.
Yes.
And then 4 looks like it's just 1, 1,
6.
6. So hopefully this is answering the question for people that did not ask me. Yes, you represent repeats. Because if I had 20 people that were in their 30s, and they were all 31, and I only wrote 1, 1 down, that is misleading. There's more people in the 30s than that. So you definitely show repeats. And then 5 is just the, what is it, 50 and 52? So what's missing? Good. What's my key? I love it. Don't forget that piece. You'll lose points if you don't put a key. Because I'm evil. Because it's important. Now, who came up with this? If I put a 4 and a 5 down, that's really not very high resolution. You guys get what I mean when I say that? You guys know what resolution is?
4K.
Yes. 4K, I think right now is the max resolution. I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? Who gives a shit? So if I put a 4 down, what does that really mean for this data? It goes from 4.0 to 4.9. I need better resolution. I need to have more detail. So instead of having a 4 that means 4.0 to 4.9, let me have a 4 that means 4.0 to 4.4, and another 4 that means 4.5 to 4.9. So really, this is how you would represent that. If I saw a stem and leaf like this, I would understand that they broke 4 up in half. I understand. It's just implied. So here I would put all the 4.0 to 4.4. 0, 0, 2. That's it. All right, and then I do 4.5 to 4.9 here. 5.5, 6, 8, another 8, 9. Okay, and then 5.0 to 5. Let's see, there's 2 O's. And then 5.5 to 5.9. 5, 7, 8. Doesn't have to be, but you might as well. Yeah. Do you guys get that? That's better resolution than 4 with a big ass row and 5 with about the same length row. That doesn't really show me anything. What is it about this data that makes this necessary? The spread of this data isn't very big. It goes from 4.0 to 5.8. It's not a very big spread, which requires me to get more detail when I do something like this.
How do you make your key for that one?
All right, so what's my key going to be? Nothing amazing. What's my key? 4.0 means 4.0. Done. This is a part of the process. It's understood that what you did. Because when I write 4 and then 5, that's understood. 4.0 to 4.9, 5.0 to 5.9. So when I write this, it's understood that I just cut it in half again. It's just a part of the way. So you don't have to show them your key. Your key is the same as it always is. How are we doing? Okay. Now this one, I like this problem because it's a histogram that's already done. You have no work to do. All the work's been done. You just have to explain what the hell they did. So the frequency means the number that did these things. So in this case, physically, this is people. How tall is this first one? Good, 11. It's only halfway up here, right? I know it's the number of people, so it can't be 10.9, no matter how much we don't like that person or whatever. So how many total people? 11, 17, 19, 20. 20 total people. And you add up all the peoples. How many empty classes are there, by the way? There's 2 empty classes. Good. So now you can answer this better. How many total classes are there then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just 2 of them are empty. You guys all right? Just because they're empty doesn't mean that there weren't buckets there. Just nobody got put in those buckets. And what about the class width? It's kind of like staring in the face, hopefully.
100.
Careful.
20.
Class width means each class is how wide. So each class is 21. Yes?
Why is it implied that the frequency is people?
Because what are we doing? We're sampling people. So if I sample dogs, then the frequency would be number of dogs, right? I'm talking to male and female customers. So I'm talking to people. So how many people said elastic from 0 to 20? 11. I like. Okay. How many people had at least? I love how the words "at least" are less understood now than ever. But if you must be at least this tall to ride the ride, then you're like every time you went to the park, you're like, I'm almost there. Right? I remember those days. They're like, yeah, I can get on this thing, and then it scared the shit out of me. But so at least means that or more. So at least 40 would be how many people? At least 40 weeks would be how many people?
That would be 3 people.
3 people. Lasted at least 40 weeks. So 3 out of 20, which is? Yeah, it's the same ratio we had on that warm-up. Yes, ma'am.
Wait.
Yes.
I'm still kind of confused about that. I was it 3 people?
So at least 40 is 40 or more. Right? At least 40 is 40 or more. And how many people is that? 2 plus 1. 3 people. Yeah. 3 people had to last at least 40 weeks. How many had to last at most 40 weeks? 17. The other 17. So here we go. Back here. So if you do this work, I think it was 79 minus 61 divided by 5. That would be 3.6. And no matter what this is, if it's a decimal, you round to the next number only. Technically, you could use the decimal if you really felt like it. You really could. Not sure why you want to, but you could. So I almost always start my classes at the first data point. You don't have to. I'm going to. So if you didn't, you're going to look a little different. Where's the next class got to start? 65, which means this goes up to, and then you just keep adding 4. Get out of there. I could just write. Life would be so much easier. So if you did it the inequality way, this would be 61 less equals x, let's see, less than 64, 64, get out of there. 65, sorry. 65 less equals x less than 69, 69 less than. Okay. So you can see the 4 this way and you can see the 4 that way. Okay, I like it. So the frequencies here, what did you guys get? 2. I like it. 11? 7? 2. Already, can you tell that this looks roughly normal? Starts low, builds up to high, and then goes back down to low. It's not perfectly normal, but it's really roughly normal. How do I get the relative frequency? Yeah, what was the, what's this here? Thank God. Right? So if you add those up and you don't get 35, take a second and figure out who you missed. Don't just keep going. So 2 out of 35 is 5.7. 11 out of 35 is who? 31.4. 13 out of 35 is 37.1. Let's just add these up to 1. 7 out of 35 is 20%. 2 out of 35 is still 5.7%. All right, so cumulative frequency so far 5.7. Then I add 31.4 and I get 37.1. Then I add those and I get these here and I get, what do you get, Jeff? 74.2?
Yes.
Then I add this and I get 94.2, and then I add this and I get, looks like 99.9. Are we all cool with that? It should be what? 100. Why is it not? We round. Yeah. Humans like to do that.
Wait, I was writing while you did that.
Shit.
One time real quick.
So what I have
Just
so
the
far,
cumulative.
as I move down, I got 5.7% so far. Now I add this much, so now I got 37.1%. Now I add this much, so I got 74.2%. So
Got it.
you just accumulate as you go down. And now I ask for relative frequency. So how far up do I have to go? Maybe up to 40, because the highest thing I got is 37. So maybe I start with 10, 20, 30, 40. Oops. And then, if I'm doing the textbook way, what do I put first?
45.
Who? 60.5. And then I just keep adding 4, right? Now, if I was doing it the inequality way, this would just be 61, 65, 69. And now, I make this one go up to almost 6. And then this one's going to go up to just over 30. And then this one, 37. And then, where am I at? 20. And then this one again. So there's that nice, roughly normal. There are a few more shorter dads, and that's why it's got that bigger bar down there. It's not too horrible, is it?
Kind of.
Oh well. Either get over it or you'll lose points. One of those two things. All right, so let's do this. So this means, okay, this is good. So tomorrow, got that quiz to do. Let me do just a little bit more. In fact, I'm going to do a little bit more. I don't care what you say. Any questions on this sheet? Anything? Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Forgot the label. I got so trapped up on my... What would this be here? Father sides. You normally put units down there. Yes.
So I did it like 60 to 63, and like 64 to
87. So is it fine that way? There's like a little.
Yeah, you're probably have a little bit different picture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's like a little gap in between. Like,
No gaps allowed.
oh.
Ruh-roh.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you do that, it's always got to, if this goes up by 0.5 and this goes down by 0.5, they both are at 64.5. There should be no gaps.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you do the textbook way, you're going to have the 0.5s down here.
Okay.
If you do the inequality way, it would just be 61, 65, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Can't mix and match either. All right. Can you turn the house lights back up?
Once you get the relative.
All right, guys, just a couple more things to throw in so we have less to do tomorrow. We got a lot to do tomorrow, so holy shit.
Are we starting with the first one?
Yeah, I mean after a few minutes of questions. Quiz will be right at the beginning of class after a little bit of question time. This is where we hit our first real equations, is in chapter 2. Make sure I do this in the same order. Yeah, okay, beautiful. So we're going to talk about three main ideas through chapter 2. We've got the descriptive stuff already, the creating visual displays of the data. Now we're going to get into the real crunching of the numbers. We're going to talk about measures of location, measures of center, and measures of spread, right? So let's start off with location. Who's taking the SAT or ACT or anything? Anybody? When you get your scores, do they still give it to you like in percentiles? 87th percentile? Yes? Okay, all right. What the shit's that mean? So if you're in the, say you're in the 80th percentile. What the hell's percentile mean? And this is represented, by the way, by this symbol. Big ass P with a little 80. That means 80th percentile. Does that mean you got 80% of the problems right? No. So what the hell does it mean?
You took it as well as 80% of the other.
You did what?
You did as well as 80%.
No, you did better than 80% of the other people. That's right. And how many people did? What percentage did better than you? 20%. So relatively not a horrible place to be. Much better than being at the 30th percentile, right? Now, is it always high is good and low is bad? No. What if you're playing golf? Then you want your score to be in a low percentile because golf, the score is how many hits it took and you want less hits, right? Don't know about golf. You want a lower score. Well, okay. You with me? Or what about time to finish a race? Do you want a low percentile or a high percentile for time to finish a race? You want a low percentile because if it took you less time, you ran faster. Does that make sense? So low is not always bad, high is not always good, or vice versa. It just depends on the situation. Because I love the problems in this section. It really makes you analyze this physically. What's a percentile mean? Let's focus on the math for a minute. Let me make a list. I'm going to make a small list of data. Percentiles make more sense with a very large list of data. But to understand what they mean, it's better to start with a small one. So let me make a little tiny list of data here. How many do I have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Let's make 10. Yay, Jeff. Okay, so copy those suckers down if you want to. So there's 10 numbers there. What, let's say these are grades on a 50-point quiz. All right, I know. No, this is good. They wrote their name right. This might be a huge conflict there. I don't know. What is your guess for the 80th percentile? What grade would represent the 80th percentile? So P80. So I have a guess is 41. Anything else? Any other guesses? 29 is a guess? Anybody else want to play?
27.
All right, look, we're just eventually going to say all. So, if you said 41, or if you think 41, why do you think that way?
Because there's 2 in front of it. So
Oh, there's 2 above it,
10% each.
so 20% above it, which is what should be true about 80%, right? But for 41, what percent is below it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 10 is 70%. Is that right then? No. So this one's a little bit troubling because it's even worse that way. But 47, what's 47 got going for it? It's got 8 below it, right? It's got 80% below it. But what percentage above it? What percentage is above 47? 1 out of 10 is 10%. All right, you guys with me? All right. So you ready? All right. It can't be either one of these because either one has a problem in one direction or the other. So it must be the number that is right in between those two. What number is right in between 41 and 47? 44. How many numbers are below 44? 8. How many numbers are above 44? 2. So there's 80% below, 20% above, exactly what it's supposed to be. Right? Not really a trick question. I love you guys. But this is a why the process works the way it does. So there's always a 2-step process to figuring out a percentile. The first step is, and please let this make sense. One thing is, how did I make the list? What's the important way that I made this list that will make this whole thing work? The list is in order. I can make anything I want to if I'm allowed to make it out of order. Second thing, does this make sense? I want to go roughly 80% of the way into the list to get to the 80th percentile. Does that make sense? If it's supposed to be the number that's got 80% below it, then let me go 80% of the way in. That's the first step. So what would that be? 80% of what? How long is this? 10. So what's 80% of 10? So if you come up with the whole number, you're going to love this, but you just got to get over it. Why does this make sense? Was the 8th number the answer? No. It was the number between the 8th and the 9th. So if this step comes out to a whole number, you average this one with the next one. So the answer would be the average of the 8th and 9th. So the second step is to go do that. 41 plus 47 divided by 2 is 44. Let's do another one. Let's have one that comes out different on the first step. How do I find P17? What's the first step? To find P17. 17% of 10. So the first step is 17% of 10. So, yeah, 0.17 times 10 is? No. 1.7. You only move it once, right? If you come out to anything that's not, so if it's a whole number, I love you guys. If it's a whole number, you average that with the next. Why? Because that's what frickin' makes sense. That's why. We just did it earlier, didn't we? You did it naturally earlier. Now we're making a math process based on it. So if it comes out to a whole number, you average that one with the next one. Anything else, I don't give a shit what this is. If it's not a whole number, you take it to the next whole number, and that's the answer. So what's the next whole number? 2. What's the second number? 11. So that's the answer. Bam. So if it's a whole number, you got work to do. You got to average it out with the next one. Anything else, you round it, and you take that number. You're done.
Is that 16 right
I don't know. Where are we looking?
there? 70% of what?
10.
10.
Where's the 10 coming from? Will it always be 10? Yeah, it depends on how many freaking numbers they give you. So I love the people that just always make this whatever I happen to do in my example. It's 10 because there's 10 numbers. If they gave you 87 numbers, there's going to be 87 here, right? But the idea is you go this far into the list. That makes sense for a first step. The second step is related to modifying that so it makes physical sense like we had to do here. Before we even knew the math, we did this naturally. with a little help.
How'd you get the 11 on the bottom again?
I don't know. Oh, 1.7 up to 2. What's the second number? 11.
You always run that?
Always. So if I got, if on this step I got, so if I did P34, 34% of 10 is 3.4. I would round it to 4, just like with class width. All right, so the fourth number will be the answer. P34 is 19. But do you notice? All right, is everybody cool with that, what I just did? 34% of 10 is 3.4. Is that a whole number? No. So I round it up to 4. The fourth number is the answer. P34 is 19. But so is P33. So is P32. So is P31. Why am I getting so many things that are repeated? Because I've only got 10 freaking numbers. This is what I meant by they make more sense the bigger your sample is. But to understand the idea, it's easier with a smaller sample. So how do I always do this? So if I had, let's say I had 145 numbers. Where would P59 be? How would I figure out where the answer is? 59% of 145, so it'd be 0.59 times 145. I could use a little tiny bit of help. Let's see, 0.66 times that. 90 times 3. Help me out. I'm going to actually try to do it if you don't stop.
85.55.
Who is it?
85.55.
85.55? So what do? Whatever the 86th number is the answer. So you just go to the list, you go to the 86th number, that's the answer. If it would have come out to 85, what would you have done? Take the 85th number, the 86th number, average them together. Why do we do that weird shit? Because that's just what freaking makes sense. We did it before you even knew any of this. We did it naturally. Yes?
Can you give us a practice problem so we could work on it by ourselves?
I did. It's on the practice test.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I want to get us going so we can do this tour and then leave. Let's do that. All right, so yes.
Where do you get the average, the 9?
Yeah, if it comes out, so here, I know the answer is 44. Before I even did anything. So if I do 80% of 10, I get 8. The answer is not the 8th number, though. So what do I do in general? I average this one with the next one. Anytime you get a whole number here. So if I got a 5 here, I would take the 5th number and average it with the 6th number. If I get a decimal, I round up and take that number. Yes?
Plug this into the calculator and the calculator do the work?
No! Because then the calculator passes the class. It understands things. So I am not impressed if you've taken stats before and your teacher showed you the buttons to push. Right? You can always check your work. I am somebody who wants you to understand shit. It's kind of like my job. So, yeah, you're going to have to show me work. I will show you how to check your work all day long. All right, so let's do this. You got to help me out. If you want to leave your stuff here, great. I can't lock the doors. So, decide. If you can, whatever you want to do. If you can walk out the door, sort of start going that way real slow. Wait until I get out in front of you. Oh, yeah.